So in this video I'm going to be taking you through a few of the Windows settings that we can configure. And to start, we're going to go to the Start menu and go to Control Panel. We're going to go over here to System, click on that, and then we're going to go to Advanced System Settings. Now under the Advanced System Settings, there's a lot of options that we can configure here. We can change the workgroup name by clicking on Change, and we can change the name of our computer here as well. What we're going to do is we're going to go over to Advanced, and we're going to click on System Performance, and we're going to click on Data Execution Prevention, and we're going to turn on DEP for all programs and services except those I select, and apply that setting. Now, Data Execution Prevention helps against damages and virus and other security threats, so it's a really good setting to have on. We're going to go down to Startup and Recovery, and we're going to click on that setting, and we're going to disable automatic restart. And what this will do for us is if we ever get a blue screen of death, it's going to give us a really cryptic error message that we're going to be able to diagnose later on. So that's a really good setting to take off. Now we're also going to go over to Remote, and we're going to uncheck Allow Remote Assistance Invitations to this computer. And that way, it's just another method of disabling remote assistance invitations because we're not going to be using them. We're also going to go to the Control Panel here, and we're going to go to Small Icons so that we can see what we're doing. And we're going to go over to the Administrative Tools, and we're going to go down to Event Viewer. Now there's a lot to Event Viewer, and it can be kind of overwhelming at times, but this is probably your best friend when it comes to diagnosing any errors or any problems that we're having with our computer. And I'm just going to take you through a quick rundown on what I mean by that. Right now it's just setting up the summary of administrative events because this is the first time I've opened Event Viewer. And it's just going to take a minute before I can actually open this up. See, so in here we're going to have a list of all our critical errors, our warnings, our information. And if you look on the left side here under Windows Logs, you can actually see it gives you every list of everything that has been started or stopped or is not running appropriately. It gives you your warnings, and it gives you a method of diagnosing any problems that are happening with your computer, whether it's an application problem or whether it's a system problem. It also gives you a list of security, and it gives you a list of which logons have been changed and which logons have been activated, when they logged on, when they logged off. Under Setup, it gives you a list of all the services and the servicing setups. And under System, which is probably the most crucial, it gives you an idea of what's going on. For example, failure of loading devices, such as USB devices or any other devices. It also gives you a list of hard disk problems or hard disk errors or any other major system error that you're going to see on your computer. And it really just gives you a method of diagnosing some of these problems. If you check the event ID out online, it also gives you another area to check out what this specific error is for. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Event Viewer can be an extremely useful application that's included in all Windows versions. And it gives you just another method of checking your system configuration and diagnosing any potential problems that you may be having with your computer. Going back to Control Panel here, we have the ability to set power options. And power options, a lot of these different options here can be changed under the plan settings. Now some of these you'll see on laptops, for example, when to turn off the display, when to dim the display, when to put the computer to sleep, whether to do it when it's on a battery or plugged in. You can also go through the advanced power settings here, and it'll also set up whether or not to turn off hard disks, when to turn off hard disks. There's a lot of different options here. Power save mode for wireless adapters, desktop background saving settings, sleep settings, hybrid settings, hibernate settings. These are all really good options to set up if you really want to be more energy efficient. So we're not going to set up any more of those. You feel free to make whatever adjustments you feel are appropriate for your system. We all have different power consumption needs. Going through the Control Panel again, we also have a method here of setting up Internet options. And the Internet options are simply Internet properties here that you use for your Microsoft Internet Explorer. You can set up home pages by clicking here and typing in your particular home page, like that, for example, for the Canadian MSN website. We can also go over to security, and we can adjust some of the security settings for Internet Explorer. And the local intranet is, again, just another form of communicating websites over your intranet, and your intranet is actually your local area network. You can actually host websites on your intranet. It's just for other people on your local area network. And I've enabled protected mode and gone up another level of security here. Trusted sites are always sites that have been certified or contain certificate information from trusted sources, for example MSN.com or even Google for that matter. And then there are restricted sites that we know are damaging or dangerous to your computer, and that's almost always at high and enabled. Going over to privacy, you can also set up additional privacy settings by sliding this bar all the way up. And again, it's probably not a great idea to slide it all the way up, because that'll begin to block all cookies coming from all websites. And a lot of websites actually depend on cookies. But a medium-high I find is a really good way to go, because it blocks the third-party cookies, but always allows the cookies that you are going to be using. And moving on here, we can go over to content. And the content allows you to set up basically anything having to do with RSS and feeds. And then again, there's also more for setting up encrypted connections and identifications using IP security. And family safety, that's the parental control system. Moving on, you can set up your connections for dial-up internet here, or virtual private networking here, or your LAN settings, which are just another method of setting up proxy connections or virtual private networking. Going on to programs, I am always uncheck this because I'm an avid Mozilla Firefox fan, and I use Mozilla Firefox as opposed to Internet Explorer, so this way it doesn't harass me. And going on to Advanced tab here, we also have the ability to scroll down the list here, and it's always not a bad idea to go and check out some of the additional options that Internet Explorer can offer you. If we scroll down the list of the security here, we've got an ability to not save encrypted pages to disk. That's handy for additional security in Internet Explorer, and an ability to set de-empty temporary internet files, folders, and browsers. And that's also very handy for additional security. There we go. So now we've got our internet options set for Internet Explorer. There are also some of the other features on here that we can go through. For example, over in our user account settings, change the user account control settings. The user account control settings, for example, give us this bar, and this is our notification. Earlier we talked about admin approval mode, and admin approval mode uses the UAC to prompt us for changes that we'll be making to our computer. And when we slide this bar up, you'll notice this changes to notify you at certain times when certain programs change the computer. And sliding it all the way to the top provides you the most security and will prompt you the most often. And it sets it up to a point where anytime you make changes to a Windows setting, it'll ask you for a notification. And anytime you go to install software and make changes to the computer, it'll notify you. And so I'm going to set that to the highest setting. And you'll notice this pops up. This is the prompt that I'm referring to. Once I click yes to this, if I choose to make any other changes with this little shield symbol here, it'll pop up again and ask me. Now this effect won't take won't fully change your computer system until the next restart of your computer. This is also an additional area where you can manage any file encryption certificates, or configure advanced user profile properties, or change environment variables. Alright, so the other things that we can do here is set up Autoplay. And in Autoplay it gives you a chance to set up what you want to do with all media and devices for Autoplay. You can change any of these devices over to take no action, open folder, to view files, or import pictures and videos. For just about anything, it has these options. play an audio CD, open folder, or take no action. Or you can just leave it on default, and default generally just notifies you whenever there's a change or you insert a disc or CD some kind. Okay, so we're just wait. No, there's that. Programs and features. Programs and features is simply a list of all the applications or features you've installed in Windows. And if you click on Turn Windows Features On or Off and click the Yes button when it prompts you, it'll load here. It takes a minute because it's currently checking all the features on my entire computer. It can take a little while as it indexes. There we go. Okay, so we can disable or enable any service in the entire Windows operating system through this window. Now it's going to ask me to restart my computer to make those changes, and I'm going to do that a little bit later. And when you restart your computer, you'll notice that it takes a minute before it starts to shut down, and once it starts shutting down, it's going to warn you that it's actually removing these services or adding these services even. And again, on startup, as soon as it goes to startup, it's going to tell you that it's removed these services or that it's beginning to add services to your Windows operating system. And just by adjusting some of these features, it can help to streamline your operating system and give you the additional flexibility you need for all the features in the operating system. There we go. So I'm going to restart later. I'll go back to my control panel, and I'm just going to take one more look around to make sure that we've gone through all of these options here. We have default programs here, and default programs just allows you to set your default programs to be associated with any file type. So if you have a specific media player that you like to open with your MP3 files, you can select that. You can associate any one of your applications with particular file types that you like and set the program to default this way. So that's about everything for this video. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put them in the bar below or visit our website at www.clearconfig.net. Thanks for watching.